Hey everyone, this is the Millionaire Hippies podcast with your host, Boom Shikha, where we chat about spirituality, business, and health. We all want to live self-actualizing, fulfilling lives with joy, prosperity, and gratitude. Let's go on this beautiful journey together.
Hey everyone, welcome to another podcast episode. My name is Boom Shikha and this is the Millionaire Hippie podcast. And before we start, I just wanted to interlude and say, please go support me on Patreon, patreon.com/boomshikha. And you can support me so I can keep on doing this podcast and I can keep on doing all my creative stuff forever and ever. So that's done, and you can move on to what I really wanted to talk to you guys about on this podcast, which is, if you don't define yourself, someone else will take the opportunity to define you for yourself. This is what I've been thinking about for the past few days, past few weeks, past few months, past few years. And it's such an important learning for me, and I've been noticing it in everything. Recently, I started talking to people about the fact that I've done 100 episodes of this podcast. I'm so excited about it. I am excited to the teeth. I'm excited to the bone. I'm excited to my neutrons. So I'm so excited. I'm explaining it all to people, how I did it, how I started. People ask me questions. And I've already spoken about this in the previous episode about how people ask me, are you making any money from it? And I just want to punch them in the face. You can listen to that episode if you want. But mainly what comes out of it is the fact that they want to tell me how to run my podcast. And so I tell them basically, what is the podcast about, they ask me. And I say, well, it's all about the things that I love to talk about, all the things that I've learned, that I want to share, that I want to teach people, that I'm not an expert on, but sometimes I just want to talk about things that I feel are really close to my heart. I want to talk about the things that really inspire me or educate me or things that blow my mind. So it's just a hodgepodge of randomness. It's basically a hodgepodge of what's going on inside of my head, right? So if you want to take a good look inside of what's going on in my head and my heart, then just listen to my podcast. And so a lot of them give me advice saying, well, that's never going to work. People want a podcast that's on a specific topic. So maybe you should have several different podcasts. You can have one on spirituality, and then you can have one on money, and you can have one on something else, blah, 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 because that's how you're going to be successful. And so a lot of times I want to ask them the question, first of all, is that, do you guys have a podcast yourself? Because first of all, in this scenario, I would never, ever, and I never, ever do this, I never, ever take advice from a person who hasn't actually been successful in the field that they're trying to advise me on. So if you're trying to give me advice on a podcast, if you yourself do not have a podcast, then I refuse to listen to you, and I will never inculcate your advice into what I'm doing. If you have a podcast and you've been successful with it, if you give me advice on it, then I will take it and I'll run with it like a linebacker or whatever they're called. I will run with the idea and I'll put it into implementation right away because I trust your judgment because you've done it and you've been in the field and I know that you know what the hell you're talking about, right? But if you don't, then I'm going to listen politely because that's who I am, but I'm not going to implement it. And so basically you're wasting your time. So a lot of times they'll tell me, you should do this, you should do that. What they're trying to do is they're defining me. They're trying to define who I am. But because I've already defined who I am, or I've already defined who I am, how my podcast runs, what my creativity is all about, what my life is all going to mean to me and what it means to me right now, all of that shit, all of that stuff I have already defined for myself. And so no one else has the capability of defining it for me. There's no space left for anyone else because all of the definitions have been laid out perfectly. All the algorithms are already running, and there is no room for someone else to come in and do any coding or programming. Do you know what I'm saying? So that is the case for me because I've done that for myself over a long period of time. I've been doing this since I was 21, since I was 16 perhaps even, since I was 12. I've been defining myself, figuring myself out, asking myself questions. What do I like? What don't I like? How do I want to do things? How do I want to live my life? What do I want to focus on? What's important to me? What's not important to me? Etc., etc., etc. And I've asked these questions over and over and over again because I've changed and my priorities have changed. But I know now who I am, what I am for this moment in time. And there's no room for someone else to come in and start twiddling with my definitions. Doesn't mean that I don't change my definition based on all the things that are going on in the world. So I'll change my definition if I find something really interesting, something that changes my life. Recently, for example, I gave up eating meat just temporarily. I think I just wanted to try it out. And I noticed that my body is changing completely. Not only is it becoming toner and tighter and fitter, but also the way that it smells is changing, the way that it looks is changing, the way it feels is changing. And it's a great experiment for me to run, because for the longest time I believed that I could not be a vegetarian, because I believed that if I became a vegetarian, I would get sick all the time because I wouldn't be getting enough food, because I wouldn't be getting enough stuff, blah, blah, blah. But I'm noticing that I'm healthier than ever being a vegetarian, and it's only been a couple of weeks. Again, that is something that I had defined for myself for a long time, that I am a meat eater. I told myself I'll never be a vegetarian because I cannot be a vegetarian. I'm a meat eater. But now I know that yes, I can be a vegetarian, especially if I'm living in a warm, hot country, a tropical country like Thailand, where I don't have to worry about being cold all the time. And so that's the main thing that I worry about all the time, being a Vata, Ayurvedic body type, that I'm cold all the time. And so I ate meat in Canada, in Toronto, which is really cold, because it kept me warm. But now, eating vegetarian food in Thailand is easy because it's so hot here, I don't have to worry about being cold. You see what I'm saying? So that definition is changing for me. It's only changing because I looked at all of the different data points and I decided for myself consciously that I'm going to do this. I'm not vegan yet. I'm still having dairy and I'm still having eggs, and sometimes I'll do a little bit of yogurt, but that's it. I am not doing anything because someone else is defining it for me. I'm not doing it because someone told me, you're a horrible person, you should not eat meat. Because people have been saying this to me for years now. But suddenly, all of a sudden, I decided this is what I'm going to do, but consciously on my own. And I realize this is the case in a lot of the different things I do. I love writing science fiction right now. And right now only. This is like a moment in time where I'm loving writing science fiction. And a lot of people will come and tell me saying, science fiction is never going to sell. There's too much of science fiction out there already. Or there's too many people who are doing really well with science fiction. Why don't you focus on romance? There is this new genre where you write about Prince Harry, someone, and you write about him specifically in the story scenario, and it's becoming really, really popular. Also, gay romance written by women is becoming very popular as well. So they tell me, why don't you focus on that? It's popular, it's going to make you money. And I tell them, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to write that stuff. That's not important to me. I'm not going to be excited about it. I'm not going to bounce out of bed every morning to write it. So what's the point? Just for money? Is that the only thing that matters on this planet anymore? Seriously, guys, can you just stop telling me things that are going to make me money? I love money. Don't get me wrong. I love money. I love having it. I love owning it. I love everything about it. I love the freedom that it gives me. I love everything. But I'm going to stop you guys, and I'm going to draw a line when you start telling me to do only things that have given me money or will give me money. There are 3 or 4 different things that I do during the week that I only do because I love to do them, because I love to do them, because I love to do them. Because it makes my soul sing. It makes my heart sing. It makes me sing. I do it and I notice myself humming tunes and I'm just like bouncing around and I'm dancing in my living room, in my studio apartment, which is a living room come bedroom come office. But I do it and I'm just so happy. And so I'm doing that not because of money, but I'm doing it because I want to do it. And novel writing is one of those things right now, which I'm doing because I love to do it. My podcast is one of those things that I love to do, and I'm going to do it for the rest of my life. There's other things as well that I do on a daily basis that I just love to do. So stop telling me that the only reason that you should do something is for the money. And stop trying to define me, because I've already defined myself. But there are other people on this planet who I am speaking about and who I'm creating this podcast for, this episode for, who have not defined themselves and who are waiting for other people to define them. And if you are waiting for someone else to define you, you can be absolutely sure that someone will end up defining you. Either it be a partner, or it'll be society, it'll be your parents, it'll be your friends, it'll be your siblings, it'll be your colleagues, your boss, it'll be the government. It'll be a billion different people on this planet who are willing and able and ready to define you at a moment's notice. Because you know what they're going to get out of that? If they define you, they're going to be able to dictate what you should buy, where you should live, how you should live, who you should speak to, what you should do in your free time and in daily work, who you should vote for. All of those things can be defined by this person if they start defining you. That is the reason why people are so intent, specifically corporations are so intent on getting into a baby's head as soon as possible. And that's the reason they have so many advertisements for little children. They're still not illegal. There are hundreds of thousands of advertisements that people watch, the kids watch, when they're just in their cradle. And they're able to, a lot of these corporations are able to get into your head and start defining who you are, what you're going to love, what you're going to eat, how you're going to live, what you're going to do, right from the get-go. You're born, and from the get-go, not only are your parents defining you, but the parents are being defined by advertisements and corporations anyways. So basically, advertisements and corporations are defining you as well. Because why do you use that toothpaste? Oh, well, my mom used it. Why does your mom use it? Oh, well, her grandma used it, or her mom used it. And why does her mom use it? Well, one of her favorite actresses in the 40s or 60s or 50s or whatever it might be used it in an advertisement, and she loved the actress to death. So she started using Colgate as well. Duh, that's how it works. So that's how people are going to get into your head. They're going to get into your head through advertisements. They're going to get into your head by telling you, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, so listen to me because I know what I'm talking about. Or listen to me because I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars on this, and the only people who matter have made money on things. So listen to me because of that reason. Or listen to me because you're a newbie, and because newbies don't know anything, so you should listen to me. There's so many different ways people are going to try and define who you are. And some of it's all right. I'm not saying that you should define yourself in every aspect completely. Some of it you can take from society or from this world or from advertisements or from people. It's all right to kind of gather things from a lot of different sources. I don't berate that at all because I've done that myself. I moved to Chiang Mai as a DN, as a digital nomad, because there's a lot of digital nomads here. And so I followed them. I let them define where I was going to go. And I love it. I love it. And I'm so grateful that they were here and they let me they defined it for me. You know what I'm saying? But I did that in a conscious way. I didn't say that, oh, I'm just going to pick random place out of the air or someone's going to tell me and I'm just going to follow them. I did a lot of research on my own once I figured out that Chiang Mai is a good place for DNs. I started thinking to myself, okay, what do I really want? I started thinking to myself, where my ideal places include? Some of the things that were on my list were, has to be really hot. I want a tropical country. Has to be a place with a lot of good food. Definitely Thailand. You know, that comes in Thailand's purview forever. It is so good, the food here. Has to have a lot of people who have the same mindset as me. Who are interested in yoga, who are interested in spirituality, who are interested in entrepreneurship, who are interested in online business. And that definitely comes in Chiang Mai's purview as well. And there were other things as well on my list. It has to be cheap, has to be in Asia with a lot of different routes so that I can go travel a lot to a lot of different countries for cheap, etc., etc., etc. And so Chiang Mai followed all of those tenets because I was looking at Colombia, Medellin, Colombia as well, and I was looking at Budapest, Hungary. But those two places did not satisfy the criteria I had. They satisfied some of the criteria, but not all of them. So then I decided on Chiang Mai. But that was done consciously. Once people started defining or trying to define that aspect of my life for me, I said, all right, I'm going to do my own research. I'm going to be conscious about it. And then I'm going to let you define it if it makes sense for me, if it's exactly what I want. I'm engineering my life in exactly the same way as well. I'm taking things from people that I like and consciously integrating it into my own business, into my own life, into the way I do things, right? So I implore you guys to do exactly the same. Please be careful because there's so many people and sources and things out there who are trying to define you. And if you let them define you, they're going to do it. But then at the end of your life or in 20, 30 years, you're going to sit up and take notice and realize, I have no idea why I'm living my life the way I'm living because I did not want to live this way. So what happened? It was because you blindly accepted all of the tenets of all the different people telling you that you need to live this way. And you don't want to have that midlife crisis or that afterlife crisis or whatever that crisis might be. You don't want to have that crisis. It's a really hard crisis to deal with. So be conscious and realize, why am I living this way? Why did I choose that brand of toothpaste? Why do I live this way in this manner? Why do I wear these clothes? Why do I do my hair this way? Why do I get a manicure? Blah, blah, blah. There's a billion different things that we've inculcated into our life. And we just need to ask a really simple question. Why do I do it this way? And why not another way? And that will give you an answer on why. Is it because of your friends? Is it because of your family? Is it because of society? Is it because of the country you live in? Is it because of that English teacher a long time ago who told you that you'd never be a good writer? Is it because of her? So there's a billion different people who have influenced us over the long years that we've been alive. We just need to be careful that they don't keep on doing that. So we need to ask these questions and cut them down at the source. I hope this makes sense to you guys. Again, if you guys are interested in making me or supporting me and helping me keeping on this podcast and all the other creative stuff that I do, then go support me at patreon.com/boomshika. I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening. Go check out my website at themillionairehippie.com if you want more free, awesome content. If you really like the podcast, please consider giving me a 5-star review on iTunes. Until next time, namaste.